We have our Arwen in her death frock.
Yeah.
So she just can't even.
The toes, though.
It's fine.
The feet are so bad.
A bit of it's fine.
Too big.
It's not. It is a 1/6 scale replica. That's not too. Do I need to get out Pepper Potts' feet?
They're fine.
Those are huge.
Maybe because they're in shoes, it's not such a big deal. I don't know.
She also has bare feet.
Yeah.
I just don't put it on because it's weird.
Oh.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching This Show, your new favorite pop culture YouTube channel where we talk about movies, TV, music, and more. As always, this is a spoiler show, so you have been warned. We have not seen Scream 5 yet, so we will only be spoiling Scream 4, which is the topic of the show we will be discussing today.
Thank you, Pert Hapley.
Time for your last question. Name the remake of the groundbreaking
Halloween, Texas Chainsaw, Dawn of the Dead, The Hills Have Eyes, Amityville Horror, Black Christmas, House of Wax, Hot Night, My Bloody Valentine. It's one of those, right?
None of the above.
All right, Scream 4 came out in what, 2010?
2011.
2011, directed by J.J. Abrams.
Directed by Wes Craven.
Those lens flares say otherwise.
This was Wes Craven's last movie.
Was it really? I had forgotten.
Before he died of tragic brain cancer, which I didn't realize it was brain cancer.
Because I was like, ready to say something about like, I wonder why he didn't direct this new one. Yeah, I had forgotten about that. I have a slightly complicated relationship with this movie. I remember seeing it in the movie theater and not really liking it all that much.
We went together, right?
Oh, yeah, but everybody else did. So I performed liking it.
Oh, okay.
And then I convinced myself, I kind of talked myself out of it and convinced myself that I did like it.
Uh-huh.
And when I was watching it this time, I was like, this is kind of bad.
I like it.
Do you like it?
Yeah. It's not my favorite one, but I like it. I'm also going to say something controversial and brave. This opening, I think, is my favorite.
Really?
It's so funny.
It is very funny.
It's so funny and it's so stupid. And just the one right after the other, 6 women that I know who they are in a row is so fun.
Now, okay, I don't hate this movie. And I think because it is a Scream movie and there's enough aspects of it that I do like that I'm not gonna shit on it. Well, I might a little bit. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. I like it fine. It's not offensive by any mean, but I think my biggest issue with it is that with the exception of the original cast and then Marley Shelton and Hayden Panettiere, nobody is doing anything. Nico Tortorello, give us nothing, King.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Same with Rory Culkin.
It's just, and Nico is properly Tortorella. I said Tortorello. Properly in his twink phase. I almost don't even recognize.
Well, it's okay. We get to the climax of the movie and he's wearing this absolutely batshit straight white man outfit. It's like a jean jacket over top of a turquoise polo and then slacks. And he
walked in and what? You recoiled.
I was like, what in the fuck is he wearing? And it turns out he was meant to be modeled after Sydney's father in the first one. When he's held hostage, he's wearing an almost identical outfit.
It was odd to me once you pointed it out.
Yeah.
But it's funny to me how the oil and water reaction you had to it.
It was
because it didn't even work with anything he wore previously.
No, exactly. That's exactly the thing. And for me, it's also the only thing I've consistently seen Nico in is younger, in which he plays an artist who is constantly wearing bonkers kind of stuff. The
only thing I have seen him consistently in is nothing on his Instagram. So it was really weird. I was sort of are we sure that's him?
Nothing but muscles and chest hair.
I was like, is this one of the ones from Red Riding Hood? You know what I mean? That it's the uncanny valley of boyfriends of movie stars.
I will say, I think Emma Roberts is doing something.
Well, so like I said, full spoilers. We're just chatting about it.
To which I'll also say this is a well-made movie.
Sure,
it looks nice.
Sure, what you could see.
Yeah, well, sure. The balance was.
So I kind of like that how comically dark so much of it is, that we constantly have characters lurking in and out of the shadows. I think it's sort of funny. But so, like I said, full spoilers, but Emma Roberts, yes, is doing something, but only once you find out she's the killer.
Yeah.
Surprise, bitch. I bet you thought you'd seen the last of me.
And to which I will also say, even once you find out that Rory Culkin is the other killer, he still gives nothing.
It's almost less.
It's almost less.
But I wish there was a way, and I mean, I'm sure there is. I just don't know what it is. I would need more time to come up with a creative solution. But I wish there was a way that we could have been on Jill's side sooner. And been like going through it from her perspective, maybe.
Sure.
Because once you know she's the killer and Emma Roberts finally gets to do Emma Roberts, because we're pretty big fans of Emma Roberts, and especially her.
Since Aquamarine, bitch.
Well, I was going to say, especially her work in the Ryan Murphy verse and as a bona fide literal and metaphorical Scream Queen. And I think one of my issues with her is I think she's a fine actress, but I think she maybe just comes off as dull when she's playing straight.
Yeah.
So I think it's only when she's doing comedy or like cunt that it that's where she really,
the pinnacle of her talent, comedy cunt.
But that's kind of it. I'm not going to go as far as to say she's a one-trick pony, because I don't think that that's necessarily true. But I think it's sort of like the movie. There's this weird shackle on her in the movie up until that point.
She doesn't play victim well.
And that's my issue with all of for the most part, all of this crop of kids is they're all just terrible. Like they're just dull. And Kirby's the only one that they attempt to give anything to. And again, I say this frequently, but I don't know if that's the script or Hayden.
Probably both.
Because who's the kid with the...
His name is Eric Knudsen. And
I do know him.
His character is called Robbie Mercer.
Yeah, nothing.
That's okay. So that's the thing
and we should like him. And I have a theory, and it's that this was written as a 90s movie. And it's very odd watching these 2011 kids play in a 90s movie, because all of his dialogue with Rory Culkin would have worked between Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard. That would have checked out, but it doesn't check out with these kids for some reason. So, because I was also going to say there are a handful of factors. A personal one is that we saw this movie as proper adults, where we saw the first three as teenagers.
Yeah.
So we're
like 26.
I think I know for a fact I'm being more critical of this just because of how aging works. And another factor is we are also now 11 years removed from this movie. And so all of the meta commentary is all like it has this quality where it feels like it was adults writing for young people.
Sure.
And so it's slightly, to say uncanny a second time this recording, it's slightly uncanny where it's like, yeah, they're talking about social media because kids be talking about social media, but it never is happening quite like that.
Well, and it's also like, because I can get behind some of the stuff where like Emma Roberts, like motivation. I can kind of get behind that as a motivation for doing this. Like, I need my 15 minutes. You don't get famous by like, going to school and like working hard for it anymore. You have to be a victim and like you have to get on the news and stuff. It's very cotton weary in that, like, I get that. But at the same time, that is part of the problem with like Kevin Williamson's ongoing stuff. Is none of it's really as good as the stuff he made in the 90s. That
part, I think, only works because of Emma Roberts, because it mostly tonally comes across like a boomer lecturing me on Twitter.
Sure.
I mean, what am I supposed to do? Go to college, grad school, work? Look around. We all live in public now. We're all on the internet. How do you think people become famous anymore? You don't have to achieve anything. You just gotta have fucked up shit happen to you.
Like, kids these days, all they care about is fame.
Yeah.
And it's very like Kim Kardashian only got famous because of a sex tape. And I'm like, well,
the devil works hard, but Kris Jenner works harder.
Hit us with the hot takes. You know what I mean? It's just there. And so it's like, I think it is a solid motive, but there's something in the actual the craft that I think sort of deflates a little.
Yeah.
I think Sydney is actually very good in this one. Do you feel?
I sort of feel like I honestly, she could have not been in this one, in my opinion.
I think that's also true, but I think that's my biggest issue is I wasn't really connected with a lot of the characters or to a lot of the characters.
I get that.
And so the scene where where they're at Kirby's house at the end and they're trying to escape from Ghostface and she tells Jill to hide under the bed while she pretends. It's like, that's all very effective.
Yeah.
And the way that her and Ghostface are kind of playing chicken with each other where she's trying to keep him distracted and he sort of picks up on it. It's like, that is what I wanted. And we only get a tiny bit of it.
I definitely agree with that. There's also there's a lot of weird sort of interpersonal stuff, especially with the Marley Shelton character and Gale Weathers, where it's just sort of it doesn't all need to be really quite so much what it is. Gale is very threatened by Deputy Hicks in a way that I don't think she should be.
I adore Marley Shelton. I should have gotten my...
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Robert Rodriguez, too.
Grindhouse. Oh, she's seen better days. Figures get kind of sticky after a while.
Just the plastic.
Yeah. So I'll leave that on the table. That might be it. But I think Judy is so funny.
She's pretty funny.
Because she's so weird, and that's where I think it's the scene where she's menacing Sydney.
Well, she's not even really menacing her.
She has crazy eyes.
It is crazy eyes, but the reason that it looks menacing is because she's just in the shadows the whole time.
And she
fades back into him, in and out of the shadow.
And Will was like, "What a weirdo!" And the thing is I do think Judy is a weirdo.
Sure, yeah.
It's you had trying to come on to well into his 40s, Dewey, not David Arquette, no, Dewey. You have to be a weirdo.
Because if I'm being honest, I've seen the trailers for Scream 5, and David Arquette looks amazing.
He looks pretty good. And she's also just she's so trigger, and by that I don't mean literally trigger happy, but she's Judy, not Marley, Judy's performing cop in the movie. She's very it's really funny. It's
in the bookstore scene when they're going out to the car, she's like,
and it's such a good, because we frequently talk about, there's a trope that we find very difficult to pull off, and it's the female cop, because they usually have a chip on their shoulder. Yeah, they're trying, because believe me, I understand the struggle of a woman trying to succeed in a male dominated world, but it's they hire some Hollywood actress and then make her overcompensate. And it's so I love that she's doing not that.
Yeah.
Not even close.
The fact that it is different than that is very refreshing.
Well, actually, so I'll go ahead and say a little bit that, but in a way, in a kooky way. Oh, also just a weird non-use of Adam Brody and Anthony Anderson.
Yeah, a little bizarre.
Anthony Anderson has a pretty decent death. Yeah. I mean, but
Adam Brody just gets stabbed in the back.
It's a little strange. And
also, I thought they were making fun of him, but his name actually is Hoss, and that's very funny to me. Very funny.
And I actually remember one of the things that I didn't like about the movie before that I've changed my mind a little bit on was Olivia's death. I remember seeing it in the theaters and thinking it was way too much.
No.
And in particular, the entrails. Sure,
that's disgusting. But that happens in the first one. You see Steve's entrails.
That is true.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say the Drew Barrymore body is mangled.
Oh God, right. That's absolutely the most horrific thing in the entire series.
But then it doesn't really do that again.
No, I love this intro. I do think the first one is obviously the most iconic. It's it's absolutely the craziest, most iconic one, because I can't even think about it. It makes me upset to think about, because she's her mom can hear her on the phone. It's horrible.
At this time, the Saw and Hostel movies were sort of at their peak and stuff. And so they even make the criticism of the torture porn. But that's what I felt like they were doing. And I will say,
I'm just sort of on Kristen Bell's team, because Anna Paquin would not shut the fuck up. I was like, I might stab her too.
Well, you want to talk about the openings.
Sorry.
So let's talk about the openings.
Oh, good.
So we have
It starts with Lucy Hale and Shanae Grimes. Shanae Grimes Beach, I guess is her name.
Again, they are so much funnier in that scene that I think anyone gives them credit for. I think people, because I did watch a video or two on YouTube about like these movies, about what people thought about them. The guys, let's be honest, I'm not trying to make it about that, but the men who were talking about it were like, they're just bad actresses, or like they're just dumb. And I'm like, okay, Lucy Hale, when he's like, you hang up again on me and I'll gut you, blah, blah, blah. And she's just like, it's for you. It's like,
also,
that is so fucking funny.
I want to make it clear that she is acting in a movie. So fuck off.
I'm not entirely there with you on that. I think that's sort of
I don't think Lucy Hale is playing 3D chess. What I'm saying is that her character is in a movie.
I think we watched the beginning of Scream 6, and then I think we watched Stab 6, and then we watched the beginning of Stab 7. I don't think Lucy Hale is the beginning of Stab 7.
Well, that's what they said, though.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
because who's the last one? It's Amy Teagarden and Britt Robertson are the last ones, and Amy Teagarden is the one that says this was the beginning of 7, and then she was like, but then if the beginning of 7 was the beginning of 6, then the beginning of 6 was 5, and like, so it turns into this fucking nonsense, and so that's where I'm like, it's hilarious because not only are Lucy Hale and Shanae Grimes in a movie, but then that movie is a movie in the Anna Paquin Kristen Bell one.
This just turns into our like deconstructing the Stab movies. Like we need
all of them.
We need red yarn and like.
Okay, if anybody knows Robert Rodriguez, let me know if he has this footage.
I don't think.
House.
Well.
I'm desperate for it.
But no, it's just very, very funny in like a black comedy way where she's like flirting with the guy and Lucy Hale is like, why do you like keep talking to him? And she's like, is he hot or something? And I forget what she says, but he's all like, oh, you know, I miss you. I love you. I want to kill you. Like, and she says that like, it's just, and also not to be this person, but that was not a picture of Channing Tatum. He never, that Adonis belt is nowhere
not on Channing Tatum.
No.
Not even like in the Step Up movies when he got super fit. He got super fit for that.
Oh, it has nothing to do. That's not me shading Channing Tatum. I'm saying it is a different body type.
Oh, okay.
It is a different.
That specific Adonis belt has never been on. I see it.
Yeah. And so then we go to Anna Paquin and Kristen Bell, and Anna Paquin was like right in the True Blood season 2, season 3 prime.
So first of all, she is hot as fuck.
Oh yeah. And then Kristen Bell, because it's obviously pre-Frozen, but Kristen Bell was having a little bit of like a wave of the time. It's short, and I think you do kind of see it coming, but also, like you said, I agree with you. Kristen or Anna would not shut up, and I would.
All the way across and like back from the thing, and you can actually see Kristen Bell grab the knife from under the pillow so that she has it when Anna Paquin comes back. It's very funny. And
I do think the two of them are no shade to the other 4 girls, but I do think the two of them are deserving of the mantle of Scream opening kills.
I mean, that's the one that's the most like, off the wall, I guess. Well, it's not Ghostface. It's just her doing it. So that's interesting. But then we do have the Ghostface in both the first 2 ones. Yeah, I don't know. I like the whole thing. All 6 of them. I think it's really good.
Anyways, this is what I was saying with the Olivia kill. Because at first I was like, I don't know. It just feels like it felt like too much. Like I just didn't. It didn't sit well with me until you realize that it would have been Charlie killing her. Yeah. And that incel was going to go
100%.
And it weirdly,
especially because Emma Roberts wasn't fucking him as like incentive. She was just like, I'll fuck you after.
And she just sort of, it's like, yeah, she's the quote unquote, like the hot one. But it's like, we got no reason. like none of that movie shorthand to believe that she was particularly mean or cruel or anything. So it I think it makes that scene's cruelty jarring in a way that I don't think the movie fully lands or earns. And I'm curious. I would have liked to see more of that movie, I guess. So I guess if they were going to do that, then I wanted more of it.
Like they should have gone full horror movie or they should have gone full Scream movie.
Maybe,
and they didn't do either.
Because I don't think that this one, I think that that's sort of how I feel.
Because that's the thing about Scream movies is they're not full horror movies. They're very funny and very quippy. And like this one's pretty meta, but like sort of in the wrong way. And so if they had committed and gone full slasher movie, and that would have been interesting.
I'm genuinely not trying to take anything away from anybody because like I said, as hard as I'm being,
really liked it.
Yeah, as well. I made a comment in one of our earlier videos where I said these are like books of the Bible to me, and it's kind of no. I mean it's all kind of like I accept it as canon. It's not terrible. Like nothing about it is awful. I just think there are several things that could have been done better, and or if we were doing this, then several things needed to be different.
Sure.
Better or different. Pick one. You know what I mean?
Like it's still a Scream movie, but it's like
and like I said, I like Judy. And frankly, I cared more about Jill's mother than I did Jill.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's just
Mary McDonald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's so beautiful. She's the first lady from
She's the first lady from Independence Day, and she is the president from Battlestar Galactica.
Even though, that's very retconny, like we had no reason to know or believe Maureen had a sister. It's like, I think that she had a welcome presence.
I was just like, wonder how much Maureen's sister's slutting around Woodsboro.
And I do agree because we were watching this with your husband, and he was like, Gail's awful in this one. And she really, Gail is Gail. Like, I love Gail, and I'm here for bitch, Courtney Cox, bitch Gail.
She was definitely doing the like, I'm Dewey's wife. Who do you think you are? And Will was like a police officer. Like it's what you're doing is against the law.
Well, and you commented that you were like, Judy is like moving in on her man, but
making him lemon bars.
Lemon squares.
Which I'm sure did not taste like ass.
No.
They don't. They really don't.
Thank you, sir.
I'm really glad that she was just a total red herring in this movie.
Because she was too creepy. Well, and also it's like
mostly just that one scene.
I wish that they would have gone harder because they like almost set up Sydney as a red herring too. And I wish they'd gone harder setting up Sydney. She is in the wrong place at the wrong time too many times in this movie. She would have been in lockup, and like if Dewey were a competent sheriff. He's so bad at his job.
No one's ever, and this is part of the whole like having to suspend disbelief, but no one is ever scared enough for what is happening. Yeah. Like when Gail places those cameras and then within seconds, Ghostface is taking each one down. She's like, I gotta go set these back up.
Yeah,
I'm like,
she's in her car. It's not locked.
What? I'm like, he's watching you. Yeah. He didn't with purpose was taking those out. And I just, I don't know. And again, that's part of the whole, like, you gotta let that go. But I think there's just one too many elements like that happening here. Yeah. This actually does have a decent cast. It's kind of a large cast because we have Alison Brie. Yeah. As
the publicist, Sydney's publicist.
Well, and it's like she's also awful, but she's intentionally awful. And I think
and her death is deserved in a way that not Marley Shelton, but her death is deserved in a way that what's her face? Olivia's is not deserved in my opinion.
Well, she's like it's the movie sin. Like she's like a too overly ambitious career woman, but and actually because I mentioned, but they like brought her back to do reshoots because people responded positively. So all of the stuff of her in the car, they added that.
Oh, nice.
I think Hayden Panettiere is so good in this movie. And I think she's one of the only people that's doing anything.
I 100%
agree. She has this, she definitely has the cool girl, but like without trying too hard. And we were instructed by Stefan to not say a single bad thing about her hair.
I think her hair is great.
I will say at the time, I remember chafing a little bit at it.
Contrary to what you'd think, I thought her having short hair would draw attention to her neck, which one could say is a little thick for her frame. But her short hair actually kind of like, it makes it all better. It makes it all feel more proportional.
Well, I definitely like became accustomed to it because she, in one of the posters, she doesn't have, which granted, I think that's pretty standard of the Scream movies, that the poster headshots are not what they look like in the movies. I did come around on it, and it's also just like I said, I think that especially with the younger kids, there's not enough of them doing something.
Yeah.
And I think both her character and her look is something dynamic. I have my fingers crossed that she might be in the fifth one.
So I don't feel super hopeful about it. First of all, I'll say Hayden Panettiere has not worked in 3.5 years, and that feels like a crime. She hasn't worked since Nashville went off the air.
Oof.
That was her last project, and I feel like that's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, if she retired, but...
Did she retire?
If she's not working.
If she retired, then fine, but if she's just not working, I don't like that. And so I am hopeful that she's in it because we do not see Kirby expire, and there was a draft where there was another scene where we like find out that she's still alive.
You get the sense that they wanted us to treat Robbie and or Robbie plus Charlie as the new Randy.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's Kirby.
Kirby's the new Randy.
Like, Kirby's 100% the Randy because she's the one answering all of the trivia questions, all of the like, what's your scary movie questions that Emma Roberts is asking her. Emma Roberts,
don't pull in that thread. That's
you're telling me Jill knows if Kirby has the right
Charlie
answers?
gave her the.
Oh, okay.
Charlie gave her note cards.
Fair enough. No, but that I just like I really, really like Kirby, and I also don't think she deserves to be killed by Charlie. Like if she's gonna be killed, she deserves to be killed by Jill.
And
or like by falling off the house or something.
I would say that horror doesn't follow rules. If this franchise didn't stake its entire identity on the rules.
Yeah.
And I understand that the fourth movie of a franchise and also a teen slasher film in 2011 is in a place where there are no rules. So for me, it's not so much the scary movie rules as it is poetic justice or irony.
Right.
And there's nothing justified or ironic about that. And it just doesn't, I don't love it. I don't love it.
I agree. I totally agree. I have my fingers crossed that she is in Scream 5. I guess we'll see.
It would just be a nice,
how much egg is on our face.
to say it again, when we find out the reveal about Jill and Emma Roberts gets to just kick her own ass.
So funny.
It really is. Like it turns into a whole other thing.
I also kind of want to put the because you said the audio from Liar Liar.
I'm kicking my ass. Do you mind?
I want to put the audio of Amy Dunn staging her crime scene over it.
Please tell me. Please tell. Yeah. Poor Nico got his
little wiener shot right in it,
and then right in the head.
In the brain box.
It just woof.
Not great.
Oh yeah. Well, there is a subtle hint that Jill is deranged.
Okay.
And it is when she goes into the kitchen and gets a stack of string cheese and a jug of chocolate milk.
It's a no for me. You know Mary McDonald.
Diabolical.
So at one point, Mary McDonald comes home from grocery shopping all alone by herself.
Late night grocery shopping during a
pitch dark outside. And you have to know she's at the grocery store being like, I've got to get Jill into therapy. She keeps asking me for string cheese and milk.
I want to say one more time. I genuinely don't hate it. I don't think it's a bad movie. I just don't think it's great.
It's not the best one of the four, for sure. I would even say it's the weakest of the four.
I'm not entirely sure what its reputation is, but I would go as far as to say I think it's maybe better than its reputation.
I think it's better than its reputation, but that it's still the weakest of the four. And I may or may not amend my rankings after the 5th one.
Well, and I will acknowledge, because we mentioned it in our 3, but I think if I had seen 3 as an adult, I probably would have been more critical of it. Because I still can't get past the voice modulator. Ugh. That's not a thing. It's just not. Where at least in this one, they're like an iPhone app, and it's like that I can
get
like,
behind.
Yes,
I get it.
This works. But so yeah, it's not terrible. It's fine. It's fine.
I also do really like the moment where you realize where Emma Roberts gives herself away. Because she says that she and Gale have matching wounds, and it's like, how on earth would she know where Gale was stabbed also? And also, so that means she stabbed Gale. Or Charlie told her. But Charlie told her, I stabbed Gale in the right shoulder. Like, I don't know about that.
I guess, because I didn't remember it was Charlie. I remembered it was her, so I wasn't watching it.
Him.
Like, until, so.
Okay. Regardless, it's very funny, and like, Dewey just is like, oh, it's fine, like, it's okay, it's fine. And he does not realize until Gale is like, how does she know where I got stabbed?
In my opinion, Dewey is not.
Dewey is not a great police officer.
All right. Well, we are going to leave you with that, and we're going to watch the 5th one later and get it to you when we can.
ASAP. So you can follow us on Twitter at soimwatching or Instagram at soimwatchingthisshow. We also have a website, soimwatching.com, which links out to everything, including our Patreon and our Cashapp and our Venmo, and we have a coffee. So if you feel like donating any money to us, those are the places to do so. And then other than that, just like and subscribe. And that's it for us. Bye.